Market choppy in trade today. Crude beneficiaries like oil refiners, paint and aviation stocks rise. Indiabulls housing is the top Nifty gainer and mid-cap index outperforms.
Bharat Forge gets a boost as North America truck orders see a 25% month-on-month improvement in June. Shares of Aurobindo Pharma sulk after CNBC-TV18 accesses the US FDA's warning letter to Unit 11, highlighting a failure to report impurities and inadequate investigations into poor equipment maintenance.
Cheer for infra companies as NHAI confident of meeting the target of awarding 6,000 kilometers in FY20. Adds that NHAI has crossed 2 stages of land acquisition and floated bids for 3,000 kilometers.
CNBC-TV18 exclusively accesses details on PM Modi meeting with India Inc. Key recommendations is to allow 1% of GDP as additional spending on infrastructure. Kotak Mutual Fund's Nilesh Shah says delegation impresses the need for government to take risks in favor of growth.
And slowdown cues continue to haunt India. June services PMI slips into contraction territory, comes in at 49.6 compared to a reading of 50.2 in the last month. Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me as always is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. Markets really inching towards the high point of the day at the moment. So 11,900 levels comfortably conquered and staying at that when it comes to Nifty 50. So Sensex and Nifty 50 in the green. But what's really ruling the roost today is the Bank Nifty, which is up almost 0.5% in trade. And mid-caps are also participating well, 0.3% up on the mid-cap index as well. And the broader markets are participating, and that's probably one of the big reasons why the market breadth is also looking on the positive side. Sonia.
Oh yes, it is. In fact, it's just carrying forth the trend that we saw in the last few days, right? The index has now broken out of that 11,650 to 11,850 range. It's sort of conquered 11,900 as well. And a lot of economy-facing stocks are doing well, whether it's banks, infrastructure names. There is hope that there will be some sort of stimulus both for investment as well as consumption in the budget this time around, although there is not much fiscal headroom for it, but any measures will boost sentiment for sure, and that's what the market is playing for at the moment. Also, the US markets will actually be shut for trade on the 4th, and today they're working only half day, so you won't get any cues from the global markets over the next 48 hours or so. So as they say, while the cat are away, the mice play. So no cues from the global markets, and for our own markets as well, we have the big budget to watch out for. But a quick look at the top stocks in focus. Aurobindo Pharma sulks on the back of a warning letter given to Unit 11. In fact, that stock is now down almost 3%.
Bharat Forge and Ramakrishna Forgings in focus today on the back of a month-on-month improvement in the North America truck orders.
Crude beneficiaries like oil refiners, paint and aviation stocks rise today after the 4% fall that we saw in Brent crude overnight. And Z is in focus as new suitors emerge for a debt solution deal. Aster DM rises as HSBC maintains a buy on the stock.
All right, so those were the top counters which are in focus. Let's start right away with our colleague Ekta Batra, who joins in with the details of the warning letter for Aurobindo's Unit 11. Ekta, over to you.
Well, yes, the reason why Aurobindo is down is because the warning letter which has been issued to one of their facilities, which is basically Unit 11, has now become public. Remember that 3 of their units, Unit 1, Unit 9 as well as Unit 11, had received an official action indicated status from the US FDA just in the month of May. And they had received now one of those 3 units, which is basically Unit 11, got downgraded with a warning letter, and now the warning letter is basically public. So a lot of these issues were already known. Remember that the warning letter is centered mainly around the issues of the manufacture of the valsartan API. The management has been communicating to investors, etc., with regards to all of the issues which have been taking place with these 3 plants, the fact that they received a warning letter, etc. But the warning letter does point to certain issues. So, for example, a review of all the API batches batches has to be done for the company. That's what the US FDA has recommended. They've also recommended that the company provide retrospective review of all distributed batches within expiry. Plus, the US FDA has pointed out repeat observations at multiple sites. They've said that they've cited similar CGMP observations at other facilities. Unit 1 and Unit 9 were also inspected and cited for deficiencies. So while both those units have not received a warning letter separately, the fact that they've been mentioned in this particular warning letter is sufficient enough to assume that all three of those units would probably be under the radar and would require the same kind of intensive remediation from Aurobindo's side. So I understand that around 10 to 15 A&Es will probably get impacted at this point in time, but it's definitely a sentiment negative because it's not only Unit 11 which has received a warning letter, but Unit 1 and Unit 9 have been specifically mentioned in the warning letter as well.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that, Ekta. Moving on, in fact, sticking to the pharma space, onto a story that we're picking up from moneycontrol.com. The US FDA inspections to go beyond factories and into corporate offices of drug companies as well. Well, I guess that's going to mean more skeletons out of the closet. Vishwanath Pilla joins in with more details on that. Vishwanath, what are you picking up?
Yeah, US FDA is certainly going beyond the factories, and the inspectors are showing up at the doorsteps of corporate offices. So these inspections are unlike the routine GMP inspections that happen like after 2 years. These inspections are risk-based inspections wherein US FDA initiates the inspection when it gets some kind of a signal from its offices or from other sources. So it's all about, the inspection is all about post-marketing adverse drug experience. So it's a kind of a pharmacovigilance inspection where US FDA inspects the pharmacovigilance departments of the companies to see whether they are following, whether they have systems and procedures to report any adverse events of their drugs.
Right, Vishwanath. Thank you so much for getting us all those important details. That's source-based information coming in from Money Control. Keep an eye out on Eris Life Sciences. There is buyback of share and the promoters are also going to participate in that, and that is at a price higher than the current market price. So that is probably giving a little bit of euphoria to that particular counter. All right, let's let's take it straight to actually Sonia on the two counters which are in focus, Bharat Forge as well as Ramkrishna, in focus on the back of the North American truck order. So some bit of relief and some good news coming in, Sonia.
Yes, definitely. You know, after many months of a slowdown, finally there's a month-on-month improvement that you're seeing in the North American truck market. But just to put it into context, May was a very weak month for truck orders. We had seen just 10,800 units of trucks that were ordered, which was a record low. From rock bottom, there's a pickup of around 25% month-on-month. But if you look at the trend, you'll see that even in the month of June, the truck orders of 13,000 is much below the average run rate of around 15 to 20 odd thousand. So yes, there's a pickup from May, but it's still almost a 70% fall on a year-on-year basis. Now, the two stocks that get impacted positively, one, of course, Bharat Forge, 12% of their sales comes from the North American truck market, and Ramkrishna Forgings also gets about 20% revenues from the North America truck market. So these two stocks are in focus. But another stock on our radar is Z Entertainment. A deal for debt resolution in Z Entertainment is at an advanced stage with a new consortium of investors emerging. Nimesh, Sumera and Nisha have sourced this information. Nisha, what all are you guys picking up?
So sources with direct knowledge share with us at this point that remember the company has been talking about two term sheets. One we had broken earlier is a global giant in media, which is Sony, which was in talks, and there has been a lot of back and forth on valuation mismatch between the two parties. On the other hand, the next term sheet, which everybody has been guessing about, was a clutch of investors. What we are gathering now from sources with direct knowledge, and all of us have pieced together the latest information and come to this this outcome, is that the three investors which are now looking at it, and financial investors with a tinge of strategic also in that, are Blackstone, the large private equity firm. There's Lupa Systems, which is, remember, Murdoch family's family office, Murdoch's family office, after they did their entire Fox deal with Disney, and they raked in a whopping over $70 billion. And also Atairos, which is an investment firm by an ex-Comcast official. So all these put together are looking at a solution which is not primarily only equity in nature. It is a structured transaction they are looking at, which could be a little bit of mezzanine funding as well, while there could be some sort of a minority equity stake sale to one or two of these participants as well. So those deal talks are going on. This one is at an advanced stage, we gather from sources with direct knowledge. Remember, they're racing against time at the moment when it comes to ASL Group, because they need to pay about 7,000 odd crore rupees to the mutual fund investors. They need to release the pledged share. 66% of their total promoter holding in Zee Entertainment has been pledged. So this proceeds will be utilized for that, and they have been trying to meet the deadline of September, and for that an announcement by July end is what they are aiming for. But at the moment there is no agreement on the table. All options are open. The two term sheets that we have spoken about and we have given out details, both are under deliberation. This one is at a more advanced stage. But one point to note here is that Blackstone, we reached out to them, they denied any minority equity stake buy in Zee Entertainment.
Okay, well, the stock Zee Entertainment is up almost about